So this superpower, it is a vestigial superpower. And why do we call it vestigial? You are all doctors here. So we know vestigial is something which is lying unused in our body. Similarly, this superpower of ours is just lying dormant, unused. And this superpower, I promise you, is better than the ability to even fly. It has the ability to make you evaporate all your problems in seconds, if you know how to maneuver it. So, next. Let me tell you a story. I believe in stories, and stories have the power to change things. Imagine a girl, a small one at that, in her 6th or 7th standard. She moves to a new school. It is a school which is very savvy kind of a school. It's a Christian convent school. She has studied in normal schools before that. And she moves to that school. And in that school, one day her teacher calls her. She's yet new in the school. Teacher calls her and gives her a chit. And there was a quote written on that chit. So the teacher tells her that you have to memorize this and present it in the assembly. Now this girl is quite excited for that. It is just a 2-line quote. It was a Robert Frost quote, okay? So she's all ready, and her teacher wants her one thing. Because this is a quote, you have to say it as exactly as it is. You don't have to jumble the words up. You don't have to use your own words. So the girl is like, like memorizing it, all good. The D-Day comes, and the assembly is set. It is an assembly of 1,200 people. Somewhere down, she's nervous. Her friends are nervous too, because it was a group of 4 or 5 students. What happens is it starts raining so heavily that the entire assembly is dismissed. Now, as the stage is covered, only the girl and her friends are on the stage, and there's no one in front of them. The assembly is moved to respective classrooms, and they're going to hear it on some mics and audios. So now the girl, she should be like, there's no one in front of them. Her confidence should be elevated. Her friends were like, okay, now we are ready. There's no one in front of us. So the nervousness has evaporated. Yet, when the mic came in her hand, something shook. She fumbled so badly that she couldn't settle. She lost her confidence. Even her teachers lost their confidence in her. And the opportunity started to go away from her hands. This incident in a little way shook her to her extreme core. It went to her subconscious mind, as we say. Then, fast forward a few years. Now this girl has taken on a journey of self-development. She's hell-bent on doing that. She's now meditating, and one day in her meditation, she gets an epiphany. And at that epiphany, she realizes that whenever she's on stage or she's doing a task which is really important to her, her head splits into 2. Her mind splits into 2. One is this performer mind, which is presenting in front of all. And one is this observer mind, which is observing what she is doing, how she is doing. And that observer mind sometimes turns into a watchdog, ready to pounce at the slightest mistake. So whenever she used to do a mistake when she was performing, this observer mind would block her performance. And she realized this, then she started digging the subject. She digged the subject so much, and she studied so much about it that she got her doctorate in the same subject. And from that stage where she was shivering and fumbling to this stage today, TEDx, I am Dr. Purwa Rojindar, and I present you the concept of metacognition. Thank you. So, next. Now, this is a very heavy terminology, metacognition. Whenever I tell people what I do, they ask me, what do you do? So I tell them, I'm a metacognition coach. Like, what is this? We don't get it. Please tell us, what is it? So metacognition, let's split it into 2. Meta is a very famous term now, thanks to Mr. Zuckerberg, but it goes beyond quite that. Meta means beyond or about. It's a Greek word. And cognition, as you're aware, it means awareness. Sometimes it is also considered as thoughts. So metacognition is thoughts about thoughts, or awareness beyond awareness. So that is the term for us. Now, although the terminology and the understanding is given to you, but it's a complex thing to understand. Next. Our human mind, it's a very complex machinery. As Ayurveda says, our mind is not just located in our brain, it is located all over our body. We have neurons all over our body, right? So this mind, this does a lot of things. Sometimes, in fact, rather most of the times, we are not just aware of the things that it is doing to us. An average human being gets around 60,000 thoughts a day. Can you imagine 60,000 thoughts? That is humongous, right? From those 60,000 thoughts, 70% of the thoughts are generally negative. And the 30% of the thoughts, they are not all positive. They are sometimes replay of the event that happened yesterday. They are sometimes just, alert systems that are like a mix of things. We have to choose what we think. We cannot think every thought that comes our way. Suppose we are thinking every thought that is coming our way, we would probably be just sitting and doing nothing at all. And imagine 70% of that is negative. So, how to apply the concept of metacognition here? Now, as I told you, metacognition is thoughts about thoughts. We have to choose what we think. There are 3 levels of metacognition. It is, although it is like presented as pointers here, but these 3 levels are intertwined. First is metacognitive awareness, or metacognitive knowledge also it is known as. John Flavel, he did quite a research on this subject, and these were the things that he gave out. So metacognitive awareness is like when we are aware about the thinking patterns that we have, when we are aware about the behavior pattern, the feelings that we have. And this awareness, we know, suppose if I see an ice cream, what kind of a feeling am I going to get? Okay, if I am a person with a sweet tooth, I would be like, oh wow, it's so nice. And if I am a person who is like into savory things, I will like, it's fine. Okay, now this is the pattern that I have to observe. Okay, metacognition is about, there's always a giant seat. It's like the quintessential sinhasan, and there is one observer sitting, and that observer is your own mind, and it's observing everything that you are doing. So that is what is metacognitive awareness about. Second is metacognitive experience. Now what happens, most of the people, they exercise this ability of theirs on some level, but they are not aware about this ability, okay? And they do not live in the metacognitive experience. Metacognitive experience is when you're aware that you are being observed by your own mind, and you take away the quintessentials and you apply it to your futurist plan so that you can bring out the best in you. That is the metacognitive experience. Now, third is metacognitive monitoring. Now, metacognitive monitoring, as it very simply suggests, it is like apply whatever you have understood about your own personality, your own behavior, patterns, feelings, and choose a best methodology and put it to use on your actions. It is quite easier said that than. I'm sure you might be thinking, okay, it's like somewhere we are practicing it, somewhere we know these things, but how to use them? So as I said, a large percentage of this crowd is a tacit observer. Tacit observer means like they're just observing and they're not using anything to their advantage. A certain percentage of people, a very small one at that, they use these things and they keep on improving. You will find such people mostly on a constant developmental ride. They are always growing in their life. For example, I'll put this through an example. Suppose you are reading a complex text, and in this complex text, you are not able to understand. Now, you are not able to understand, you know this that you are not able to understand. This is the metacognitive mind observing the thing that I'm not able to understand. What do you do next? You read it, albeit slowly. You try to find a dictionary. You try to, go through the sentences over and over again. That is the metacognitive experience. Now the observer mind is, okay, oh, now I think probably this is making this sense. This sentence is making this sense. This word probably means this, or the context is different. This is the metacognitive experience. experience. Now, you are aware, now this text is complex. After you're done with first 1 or 2 paragraphs, what you do, in the next paragraphs, you focus more. You will be like, okay, no, I cannot read it casually. I need to pay my attention. And that is the metacognitive monitoring that is happening for you. Now, although this was all neuropsychology, there's a lot of research being done in psychological perspectives in metacognition, but here is the twist in the tale. As I told you, I'm a believer in stories and I believe in the universal plans. It so happened when I began on this metacognitive journey, I used it as a tool for myself first. And once I was done doing that, I was on a mission. I'm on a mission to teach it to as many people as I can, because every power lies inside here. And we can bring a lot of change in our life. In fact, we can achieve all our dreams just if we take care of this one tool. So the twist in the tale comes here that I was chosen for a scholarship and I was sent to an ashram by the government of MP, and there I studied Vedanta. Now, Vedanta is a system of thoughts, and it's a philosophy. I studied Advaita philosophy, Advaita Vedanta philosophy there. It is a crux, a juice of all the knowledge in Upanishads and Vedas. And what does it say? The ultimate thing that Vedanta says is achieving enlightenment. But before that, how to achieve enlightenment? By controlling your mind. And there are such amazing things it teaches us to control our mind. And that is why the true spiritual leaders, they are always in their element. From Vedanta, as you can see, it is mentioned, there are 4 things from Vedanta I would like to tell here about achieving the metacognitive lifestyle. First is Antahakaran. Antahakaran is, it has 4 layers, okay? Antahakaran, first layer is the Buddhi. Buddhi is, as we call it, Manas or Man, the heart, in general language, mera man ye keh raha hai, my heart is saying this. That is the Buddhi. Second is the intellect, okay? Third, this slide is good, yeah. Third is the intellect. Third is the ego or ahankara. Ahankara is not the pride. It is a confused concept that is playing around. Ahankara is the image of us that we see, the image that we project, the image that we want to supplement or subtract from. And the last of it is the subconscious mind. Now, Vedanta tells us that we have to observe on these different aspects of our mind. Our our buddhi, our man, our ego or ahankar as it is known as, and the 4th thing is the chitta or the subconscious mind. And how do we do that? We do that by meditation and self-inquiry. Meditation is a concept which might be known to most of you. However diverged it is, meditation is not about the zeroness of thoughts. It is about giving your thoughts enough time so that they become zero. Okay, I will not speak much on that. Coming to the next thing, the slide is good. I'll tell. In metacognition, the Vedanta tells us that we have to observe our things through self-inquiry. In self-inquiry, we constantly keep questioning why I am doing this, from what agenda my actions are driven, why I am, applying for something. Am I doing it for the sake of doing it because the public is doing it? Am I doing it because I'm truly interested in the subject? Am I doing it for some personal reasons, or it is going to pay me off well, or whatever is the driving factor? This is the self-inquiry. It's a huge thing for everything. There's a different kind of self-inquiry that we will indulge in. And this self-inquiry is the data on which our observer mind or the metacognitive mind operates. Now, the second concept is the Saksha concept. Saksha, as it comes from, it means Sakshi. In this, the metacognitive mind itself is the sakshi to the entire life that we are living. And from that, it deduces our patterns, it deduces the things in our behavior, feelings, and everything, and the data goes to the chitta or the subconscious mind. And from there, everything, every behavior of us, which we even ourselves don't know, like why we are behaving in this way, it comes from the subconscious mind. So we have to be aware of the saksha. It is a concept of observer observing the observee. So that is what is saksha about. The third thing is maya. It is a bit, what we say, it's a bit funny kind of a thing. Here Maya explains that every one of us know Maya is illusion. Okay, now, psychologists, the biggest of them, right from Simon Sinek to Dale Carnegie and many others, they tell us that Maya is explained in a way that thoughts are Maya. That is the biggest illusion that we have. An illusion that, okay, this is impossible for me. This, I'm not educated for this. Or this is not the skill set that I have. These are all my thoughts and this is my illusion. The people who do not live in this illusion can achieve anything. So we have to break through that maya of thoughts or that illusion of thoughts and know that, okay, this is just a trap and I don't have to fall in the trap. We have to be very precise when we choose our thoughts. The last is the Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga means attaining knowledge on different things and ultimately attaining knowledge about yourself. That is what is known as going inside, being that observer and taking a cognizance of not just our behavior, but our body, our mind, and our speech. And if these three are in alignment, our entire cognizance is in alignment. Now, before we delve into how to develop metacognitive thinking, right from Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita or Gautam Buddha or Earl Nightingale or Dale Carnegie, and I cannot name the number of philosophers and contemporary visionaries from their own times, everyone has emphasized on one thing. We are our thoughts. Whatever we do is driven by our thoughts. Our entire personality is ruled by our thoughts. So again, coming back to the same point, if we control this thing, we can control everything. So that is the basic thing that should always be there in our minds. And with that, like, we shouldn't be just giving up for the fate. Fate is a necessary thing that happens, but the key lies in our hands, and that key can be operated through the metacognitive mind. Now, how to develop metacognitive thinking? This is the best thing about today's talk of mine. Metacognitive thinking is one element. This is the superpower that I was talking about. Take up a thing that all of you want to correct in your life. It can be a problem, it can be a habit that you want to break out of, it can be a habit that you want to develop, a skill that you want to learn. Anything that you can that comes to your mind. Try not to keep it a little kind of materialistic. It should be little intangible kind of a thing. So now whenever you are in the practice of that thing, you have to observe yourself. When you observe yourself, like what you are doing, what are your patterns, in that specific thing, there are a number of tasks that you have to do. On which task is pulling you back? Which thing you think is not my truest thing? It is not something which I align with, or something that you procrastinate in that. That specific thing, observe your patterns around it. It can be multi-layered in itself. It can be a singular thing. Observe your patterns around itself and then try to cure it. Your metacognitive mind is that small inner voice that will tell you from the back of your head, oh, no, don't do this. This is wrong. Don't do it. Don't do it. Or do it. But what we do, we just go by the norms that the society has set, or something which is, the thing that is running around or that has been in vogue. We don't have to listen to that. We have to listen to that small inner voice. It is always there and it is in everyone's head. You have to give that inner voice so much of power that it becomes clearly audible to every one of you one day. And that happens only with giving that power attention, being aware of that observer mind. Now, that small thing which you have taken up, and that that hookup, or that speed breaker, we would call it, which is there in that journey, observe your patterns around it, observe your behavior around it, and what is pulling you back. Once you have taken cognizance of that, now develop a strategy to combat it. Even, procrastination, I'll take one example about it. Procrastination is not something what lazy people do. It is never the lazy people. Lazy people won't do anything. Procrastinators are generally, they'll do maximum of the things, and there would be 3-4 things in their life which they'll not do. Why are not they doing those specific 3-4 things? They are not doing those specific 3-4 things for a simple reason. There is something which is pulling them back. There is something about that act which is making them nervous, which is making them move out of their comfort zone. Procrastination is mostly about being out of your comfort zone. Something which is like, pulling you and pushing you, that kicking you, no, this is not my place. And once you get over that hook, you would be in a journey where you would be enjoying the view, enjoying the scenery. Just that hitch you have to clear. Once you apply all these things, your metacognitive journey becomes easier. Okay, so that was how you develop the metacognitive journey. In the end, I would just like to end it with one thing. It is a quote by the famous Mevlana Rumi, where he says, we believe that whatever we are doing, God is observing us from above. But God is not observing us from above. He is observing us from within. And that's why Vedanta says, Aham Brahmasmi. Thank you so much.